Hello, everyone. My name is Andres Abeyta. I'm the Executive Director of Bootcamp GIS, where we bring different people in our industry to talk about what's going on in trends and provide education to a lot of you as the audience who are students and transitioning professionals. And I'm really excited today to be talking with Rich Serby, who is one of the most foremost people in thinking about job opportunities in our industry. How's it going, Rich?
It's going well, thank you.
That's a beautiful mountain behind you. What is that?
That is Pikes Peak, set against the tapestry of Garden of the Gods in Colorado Springs, Colorado, and this is what I get to see every day.
Well, that's a great spot to be in Colorado, where we know GIS is such a rich industry there with lots of things and companies going on. Rich is owner of Geosearch, which has been doing job placements for geospatial professionals for over 20 years. So this is a key reason why a lot of the audience needs to listen to you and what you see in the industry, Rich. So I wanted to ask, the background on your company is really interesting. Why did you just want to focus in on geospatial? And as far as I know, you're the only company that does that.
I came from public education as an English teacher and a school principal, and decided I wanted to try some ideas that I had, and my wife gave me permission to go ahead and leave my job and try it out. And 33 years later, here we are. And basically, I met that first month out of education in June of '88. I met a vice president of a mapping company, a local mapping company here in town, who at that time was called Analytical Surveys. They still have offices in a few different areas of the country. And he explained that they were having a lot of difficulty finding certain people in certain job categories, such as GIS, which was relatively new off the shelf at that time. And so that was one issue that they were having. And they were also having a recurring issue with finding enough photogrammetrists or photogrammetry people who were also stereo compilers, who could do the contours and the elevations with precision for mapping projects. And he asked me if I thought I could help him, and I said no. I don't understand a word you're saying. Once you get beyond Rand McNally Road Atlas, I'm lost. So, it was a steep learning curve, but I learned it. And I'm grateful that I did. I'm glad that I can still learn complex things and be of some use. And I had officed myself with a couple of other recruiters. And what I noticed about my experience with those fellows was that they were trying to be everything to everybody. And as a result, it seemed to me they were not much of a use to anybody by doing that. So I decided to go ahead and focus on, it was not known as geospatial at that time. That was a later term that was developed through the Department of Labor, and decided to focus on that, on those businesses, those technologies, and just began adding clients, one client at a time.
Well, I know that you pay attention to the entire industry as a whole. As a matter of fact, you and I had lunch at the MAPS conference. That's one of the national organizations of business owners and business leaders in geospatial. And that keeps you paying attention to what our industry needs. So my next question is, what do you see as geospatial job opportunities? Are they increasing or decreasing? And the indicator really is your company. Are a lot of people coming to you for job placements, because you're right at the center of it?
Yeah, we are very busy right now. Once they started whispering this thing called infrastructure, we got busy real quick with companies that had been going through, of course, the whole dead period of COVID, of slowness and not knowing what was going to come next and all of that. And when infrastructure became a serious topic, folks began to line up. We need to staff up again. We need to get ready. We need to be ready for these projects that we will be able to bid on and participate in. And that's caused us to be very busy, especially over this last 6 months. And we'll continue to do that for years to come, actually, as a result of this being an ongoing process. So yes, the job opportunities within geospatial are plentiful, and we have more jobs available now than we do in some job categories than we have people to fill them. So it is definitely a buyer's market. It is definitely a great position to be in if you are a job seeker and if you have knowledge and experience in some of the geospatial sciences.
And along with infrastructure, I've been thinking, especially with the administration pushing environmental and green initiatives, that would be also another big area, right?
Environmental certainly is a part of it. You know, that before any bridges can be built or roads, there have to be environmental issues considered before concrete is poured. And that it goes to the geosciences and soils testing and the various thousands of combinations of what degree of concrete do we need for these particular projects. So it actually starts with environmental and then leads into the, at the same time, mapping is occurring, surveying is occurring, and routes are determined, and all of that kind of thing are being done by land surveying and aerial surveying crews. And then once those projects are awarded, then the geospatial folks are participants every step of the way through completion of projects. So it's a terrific opportunity to join us in geospatial if you have a mind to.
Yeah, and I see when I've looked at curriculums across all of higher education, we really see that most of the curriculums and coursework and types of theses that came out, I got my master's in GIS, it really is focused on the environmental, conservation, urban side of things. But what you just said at the beginning was this huge infrastructure bill. I think a lot less push for research and doing projects on the infrastructure side are done in academia. So for the audience here, I think if you think about all of the architecture, engineering, construction firms that are out there that need GIS to support both the environmental requirements and the planning, it really is an opportunity that's not as focused on.
It was a little frustrating for a while because colleges and universities in particular didn't see their role as being preparing people for jobs. They saw their role as preparing a bachelor's degree student for a master's degree and a master's degree student for a PhD. And they had no real practical experience in terms of applied mapping, applied geography. And that's where all of this is. This is the application of geography and the application of what we used to call cartography. You still see it occasionally, but it's kind of an outdated term. But certainly all of the technical advances that have been made in geographic sciences has just been incredible over this past 30 years, and especially the last 15 or 20 years, and changes daily. I mean, there are new things happening all of the time within the geospatial sciences. And colleges and universities are beginning to understand that. But the fact is, with colleges and universities, they find it impossible to stay day to day, week to week, month to month abreast of the technology and the changes. So a lot of the programs are still dealing with GIS and other technologies that at best are 5 years old and or older. And so it is necessary for us to have resources such as Bootcamp GIS to help us stay abreast of the technology as it occurs, as it is changing, as it is applied. And that is very difficult for colleges and universities to do.
Yeah, so that's, I mean, this is the entire tech sector is known as the skills gap. You know, what you learn in college and then what you're asked to do in the workforce is two very different things often. So along those lines, then maybe you could tell us what are some of the technical areas that you find hard to fill and that some of our audiences should be looking to pick up courses and get some experience in.
Well, I canvassed my huge team of 2 other recruiters and I say, okay, bring me up to date here. What are you dealing with this last 6 months that we need to be aware of in terms of skills that are being demanded that we are having some difficulty in filling? And I'm going to kind of read what they told me, which was GIS skills mixed with full stack development, JavaScript, Python programming, and those who can do automating those technologies. LiDAR experts, algorithm developers, science focused people. Rather than being users of technology, our clients are expecting more who can actually change and develop technology and who understand the science of the technology. LiDAR scientists are in more demand. Among the soft skills that we hear all of the time is we need people with excellent verbal and written communication skills. And, you know, this seems to be a bit awkward when we used to be talking about folks who just really loved working at workstations with great big screens so they could see the 3D image of a GIS mapping project and making an assumption that they really didn't want to talk to other people. They just wanted to do their job. Well, there are those among them who are also articulate, who also have excellent writing skills. And those folks can take that technical basis and move into project management and sales and account management, business development, and what our clients are calling solution engineers. That is, we have the technical products available to us, but now we need the people who are actually able to describe and help their clients understand the solutions to everything that we have available to us.
Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff there. I would say from our standpoint, we're getting a lot of students that come to us with backgrounds or recent graduates, maybe in environmental science, biology degrees, anthropology. And what you said is somebody that knows the science and then can leverage these tools to make better decisions or show people, you know, some trends with their particular data in their vertical. That's a powerful combination. So I see that as well.
Right. We are still problem solvers. Right.
Yeah. You know, one of the things I've been paying attention to, and this came up at the MAPS conference, where all these business leaders are really trying to figure out the path forward in, you know, post-COVID and this trend towards remote work. We've proven that we can be as effective with distributed workforces, and now should we come back into the office again, or can we let people work from home for a long time? You know, I think the latter is going to happen, but what do you see in your talks with employers about maybe even just publicizing we're willing to hire for remote work positions?
Well, when all of this started and it became a reality that we didn't have much of any other choice than to offer remote home office locations, just because of the circumstances that we were in. At first, for a very short time, actually, we had some who were dug in saying, no, we have to have people report to our office, and it wasn't little by little. It was almost like all of these smart people started talking to one another, and it happened all at once that, yes, we have to do this. We have to do this, and we have to make it work. whether we need to start moving equipment, special equipment and computers and so forth into someone's home office, we can do that easily. Or whether it's the type of position that would not require any kind of specialized equipment. And what they began to realize is we are just as productive working this way as we were when we were all face to face. So what we're seeing now is a kind of a mix, because it kind of goes both ways. Some people began to feel isolated by working from a home office and not seeing their friends and colleagues at work. And so then it became more of a, you are welcome to come back as you need to come back for special meetings or whatever, or just to work out of the office for a day or two a week and say hello to folks and have that human contact again. And so that's kind of what's been happening. And so what we're seeing more and more of is that this particular position, we are officed in a certain city and in a certain state, but we are open to have someone in this particular position. We're open to have someone located anywhere and work from a home office environment. In some industries, they began to see, especially in expensive New York City and places like that, where it was a lot less expensive for them to work from a home office and move out of the city and move into less expensive communities and work from there. It also made a big difference in terms of how people arrange such things as childcare and all of those other things that are important to people's career lives. So it has become a lot more flexible, and businesses are much more willing to look at remote home office instead of a physical presence every day.
Well, just think about that. That's what a company can offer, like salary or benefits, but it's flexibility. And when you do that, you increase your pool of people that can possibly join your team, and then therefore you can be more competitive because you have more people to choose from. So
yeah, I was saying this for a couple of decades before all of this, and with a lot of resistance. It took a pandemic to actually have that conversation and say, we can find a lot more qualified people if we can make this a remote home office location for you to review, for you to select from.
Yeah. So I heard you say it's a buyer's market, probably from the employee potential candidate standpoint. So would you say that salaries are increasing because of that? Increasing,
salaries are increasing. I think it's a dynamic that is not just geospatial. It's in all industries. It's in whether you are a restaurant or whether you are a retail store selling clothing, or whether you are an engineering company. Wages and salaries are being forced upward because we have a lack of people available to us at all levels, whether we're eating lunch or whether we're buying a shirt or whether we are building bridges. The fact of the matter is there's a shortage of qualified people at all levels, including geospatial.
Yeah, that's for sure. I was just eating a hamburger at our favorite hamburger place, In-N-Out, here in San Diego. There's a sign on the door: we're hiring people at $20 to $22 an hour to work just at the hamburger store. So
right.
I can see that all the way up the chain. All right. So what do you think that the companies are asking for education requirements in industry now, when you have so many other ways to be able to learn things? Yes, it was a degree, graduate degree. What about GISP, or now technical certificates and micro-credentials? What do you think?
Well, the most standard expectation continues to be a bachelor's degree for most positions. Although there is, just because of market forces, There are community college programs, certification programs, and associates programs that are very much in line with entry-level GIS technical expectations. The bachelor's degree, as I said, still tends to be the industry standard. When someone is completing a bachelor's degree and they immediately ask me the question, should I just go on and get my master's degree? And my answer is, what for? What is your goal? Because a master's degree not connected to job experience, not connected to real experience in a real workplace, is going to get you the same salary offer or wage offer as the bachelor's degree person would get. So it doesn't really help you in that regard as it relates to the salary that you would command, unless you are in a public agency environment in which the degree does make a difference in terms of where you fall on the salary schedule. And so that could be taken into consideration. Internships are a real critical part of this, and that's my pet topic all the time. Is we ought to be connecting whatever it is, an associate's degree, a bachelor's degree, and even a master's program with internships, paid internships on a job site in a real employment setting. One of the decisions that anybody has to make when they're looking at getting into a profession is, am I even going to like it? Am I even going to like the physical part of the office setting, the kinds of people that I would be working with? Am I going to enjoy going to work every day? That's what you need. That's how you need to think of your career. That's how you need to think of your own personal happiness. And certainly a lot of people in geospatial, I work with people who love their jobs, and that's really helps me love my job even more than I do.
Yeah, that on-site internship stuff is critical. I got my teaching certificate and credential, and it's such a backwards thing because you can go through and get your 4-year education degree and not get put in the classroom till your final year. And at that point, you kind of wonder, do I really like being with a bunch of kids or not? And that's far too late in the game, in my opinion. The other thing is, probably it's different in the government sector than the commercial sector, but the commercial sector is looking at the people and what you can do, more so than where you studied and what your GPA was and how far you went. Right. So companies like IBM and Microsoft and Google, they've removed even the idea of the requirement of having undergraduate degree to apply to their technical divisions like coding, cloud, database. You can just prove to them, hey, I've done internships or learned on my own, or I came in from a boot camp and I can show you what I can do by these projects that
well, and you mentioned crossover kinds of credentials or micro credentials. Some of the candidates who are really alert to this have really they'll like make an Excel sheet, and they will make a list of all of their technical capabilities, and they will rank themselves in terms of 1 to 10 proficiency level, from beginner to expert. And people are pretty honest about what it is, how it is they promote themselves, because they don't want to promote themselves into something that they're not very good at doing. So it's a good exercise. If it doesn't become a part of your resume, it is definitely a good exercise for people to get that Excel sheet out, make a list of all of your technical skills and what you have to offer and your soft skills, and rank yourself from 1 to 10 in terms of proficiency and expertise.
So, Rich, you and your team at Geosearch have a great service for people looking for work in our industry. Meaningful industry is a wonderful place to be. Maybe you can talk to the audience about how people engage with your company and get exposed to the large database of opportunities that you have.
Well, it's pretty simple. You go to geosearch.com, and you will be immediately taken to the first page, which said, okay, let's get started. And you are either a job seeker or you are an employer. So choose which one you are and follow the steps. You can create a profile in our candidate database, which is confidential. We do not share our candidate database with anyone without candidates' permission to proceed with a specific opportunity. So it is held confidentially. And you can create that profile, upload your most current resume. We will always encourage you to keep it updated as need be. And also another simple way is my name is Rich, R-I-C-H, at geosearch.com. If you send me a resume, I will send you a reminder. Make sure to visit the website and get your profile built. But in the meantime, I'm going to get you into the system so we can talk. So it's a simple process to get engaged with us. There are no fees. All of our fees are paid by employers, not candidates. And as I said, it is confidential information. We are here to help people in their careers. We're not here to harm anyone in their careers. We want to make sure that we're doing all that we can to engage with you to make us a part of your career development and your career advancement.
Well, that's great. We ask all of our students to reach out to you because we recommend you and your company as a very high integrity group to work with. And from the skills and education standpoint, Bootcamp GIS really does focus on what we were talking about earlier, is skills and projects that come out of industry. All the classes are taught by subject matter experts, which really is like looking over the shoulder and seeing how to do a project by somebody in industry, which is kind of like an internship, right? Except for you don't have to go anywhere to do it. You can do it all online.
A degree or a certificate is not the end of your education. Education is lifelong learning. And what Andres offers through Bootcamp GIS is offers those access to those skills that don't show up in a college or university program or certification program because they are dated. And we're seeing technology change and develop and grow every day. And it is up to each one of us individually to make sure that we stay abreast of those kinds of things for our own development and to be a contributor to the employer that we work for. So it never stops. Learning is lifelong.
Thank you for that segue, because we feel really excited when we can think about problems in the world and then create a piece of education that a lot of people want to learn. So one of the classes that we have under development is how to map out your supply chain. Huge problem right now. It's so relevant, and mapping technology can be used to do that. And then we work with somebody in industry that's been thinking about that and working on tools to map that out for industry. So when you do that, you can produce education that is really relevant and also reduce the cost and time to get that skill rather than a 2-year master's degree. So thanks for joining me.
I look forward to hearing from everybody. We need you.
Contact Rich. Yeah, you'll be better off for it. So Rich and I have the same mission to try to help people get qualified to join our meaningful industry. Geospatial is a wonderful place to be. And if you come to our platform, bootcampgis.com, you can see many classes that are industry-based where you can attain a GIS certificate with 6 courses in 6 months. Now, the types of classes that you'll see there are really industry-based. As we mentioned, they're taught by subject matter experts in industry, and that's why we were rated #1 by GIS User, because of the types of industry skills that you'll learn. Come check it out. And we'd love to have a meeting with you to discuss what type of program will be best for you and answer your questions. All right. Thanks, everyone.